Hello, the aim of this video is to do some kind of jargon busting, back to basics for beginners, to help people understand how the GoPress is designed to be used and the difference between hot foil stamps and cutting dies and the differences in how you use them and the results you get when you're hot foiling. So I have here some Couture Creations foil. It's heat reactive foil, which is the kind of foil you need to work the GoPress. These are available in huge number of colours and finishes. They come in 5 metre rolls. I bought this one in the UK for £2.99 for the roll, which is pretty good value. So I'm going to use that nice shiny copper because it shows up well on the video. I also do lots of stuff in silver and gold. As I say, the range of foils is enormous. Okay, so that's my foil. My GoPress has been warming up and I'm going to be foiling on some really smooth white card. Hot foiling, whilst it can work on lots of surfaces, it works best on smooth card. Very best results are on a coated cardstock, so like shiny paper, or even onto foil. You can foil in one colour onto some foil cardstock in another. But I use this smooth white card. It's 250 GSM, but it seems quite thin because it is so smooth. So that's what I'm going to be using today. So first thing I need to do is make sure my GoPress is ready to use. So let's bring it over. I've had this warming up for a while. The light here is steady green, which means it's all warmed up and ready to use. So the light has four ways it comes. When you first plug it in and turn the electric on, it comes on as a solid red light. You press the on off button and it starts blinking. That says it's warming up to temperature, which is what it's doing now. And then when that goes green, it's hot enough, although it's just maintaining the temperature now. So I'm going to put my hot foil stamp, that's a hot foil stamp, with those flat surfaces that are raised up, onto there and let that warm up for a moment. And while that's warming up, I'm going to cut some foil. Bear with me while I just reach my scissors. So that's my foil going on, and it goes shiny side down. Okay, so the dull grey side up, and then a piece of card goes on top. Like that. And then because Couture Creations want us to be able to use different thicknesses of hot foil plates and dies to do our hot foiling with, there's a bit, or different thicknesses of card to foil onto. There's a bit of wiggle room in the gap between the lid and the base, and to accommodate for that, what you do is you put in some card shims. So I've got a piece of card there. That's a failed foiling experiment. I'm folding it in half, so that's 2 layers of shim. There's another one, again another failed experiment, and lastly another one. So I've got 4 shims in there because I'm using really thin card, and because that's a Couture Creations hot foil stamp. The Todo brand ones come up a fraction thicker, and you just use 1 or 2 less shims. So I close the lid, and we're going to give it 30 seconds to a minute to warm up. Now my red light's just come on again. I will actually wait till that's gone green again, and then I'll go and put it through my die cutting machine. So I'm just going to pause the video. while I'm waiting for that. So here I am, straight back from the die cutting machine. I haven't looked at how this turned out yet, so we'll have a look together. So open the lid, take out the shims, we'll use those again, and then lift up, and hopefully you can see where that's pressed into the foil. That's always a good sign when you lift up your card and you've got that there. Okay, I'll just move the GoPress out of the way. In fact, first I'm going to use my tweezers, lift that off and leave it to cool. Put this back on the base to stay warm. Now while this is off my base, the green light flashes. So if your green light is flashing, it means your foiling platform is not connected properly, or not connected at all. So if I've got it here and it's still flashing, I know that's not gone in properly. So as soon as I push that in properly, it's gone back to flashing red. So that's warming up for me. So here we are, big reveal. Okay, now I used a huge piece of foil there, so I've got some over foiling at the edges, and that can happen. That's one of the reasons it's recommended you trim your foil to just a little bit bigger than you need. Okay, now you can use a thing called a sand eraser to get that off. If it's not embedded itself too far into the card, you can. Let me have a go on this. Sand eraser. For those that are old enough and remember typewriters, these used to be used for rubbing out mistakes on typewriters. It's like a rough eraser. It's kind of used for erasing ink. So if I just rub on here, it just rubs that foil off the surface of the card. Now I do find with strong coloured foils it's hard work to get rid of the entire mark, but if it's sort of small areas and it's like silver foil or gold foil, that usually comes away without leaving a trace. And certainly if I was doing something like cutting that out and inking around the edge of my die cut to make a topper, that you know, you wouldn't know that was there. So be warned, don't cut your foil too big. Okay, so that's the effect you get with a hot foil stamp. This has cooled down now so I can handle it. So hopefully there you can see the thickness and the flatness of the surface. So that's a hot foil stamp or foiling template. Okay, doesn't do any cutting. Okay, so I'm lucky enough, I've got exactly the same design as a cutting die. So what I might do is foil that onto a background paper and then cut out my butterfly and make it three-dimensional over the top to give extra dimension to my design. But I want to show you what happens when you foil with a cutting die, because I think people get very confused about foiling with a cutting die and what is going to happen. Now, there are two techniques for foiling with cutting dies. The basic one gives you the cutting lines as a foil pattern. Okay, there's a more advanced technique that I've got other videos on that involves using the back of the cutting die. But the thing to remember, and it's really important, is that you never put the cutting edges of a die down onto the grey surface of the GoPress heat hot plate. Okay, so let's see what happens when I use this. So the first thing is I need to put it onto my GoPress to warm up. So I'm gonna just pull the platform out, open it up, and I'm going to put it smooth side down onto there. I'm going to close the lid and let that start warming up while I cut a piece of foil. the end. There we are. My scissors. Okay, now how big did I need this? Didn't need it that big. Okay. I'm going to cut a chunk off this so I don't go over foiling this time. Let me just snip the corners as well. Snipping the corners off helps stop the foil curling. And helps stop with the overfoiling, because you'll notice it was the corners mostly where it caught on this, so that's a better sized piece of foil. So bring my hot plate back. Just going to bring the hot plate across rather than the whole machine this time. So my die has been warming up. Put the foil over the die. See, only just needs to cover it. Fresh piece of card. Same card again. There we are. And I'm going to use my 4 layers of shim again. Put those on there. Close the lid. Put it back over here. And let it warm up for a few seconds. I'm also going to do this little die in a few minutes, so you can see a different way of using it. Okay, so I'm just going to wait. It really wasn't long last time, it must have only been 5 seconds till my light goes green, and then I will take it and roll it through my die cutting machine. I just want you to get a feel for how long it is. There you go, it's just gone green. So I'm just going to pause and go to the die cutting machine. Here we are, back from the die cutting machine. Now, the only thing I'd say with putting it through the die cutting machine is roll slowly, fairly gently. Doesn't need a huge amount of pressure on it. Does need a bit, so you should feel there's something there, but there's not a lot of resistance. As I say, roll slowly. And if you're not sure if it's going to be too thick, start with fewer shims. And if you don't get good foiling, add another one. Try again. When you get a good result, you know you've got the right number of shims. Okay, so I'm going to lift this out. Now, you can see here, yep, it's pressed into the foil, but there's only very thin lines. Hopefully you can see the difference between that and what I did earlier. Let me move the platform out of the way and we'll do the big reveal. Before I do that, I'm going to change what's on there. So lift that off. See, I'll come back to that. Let me just put this out the way to warm up. Okay, so. Whoa. And there we have it. So that's all those cutting lines I've made the pattern of my butterfly. And again, you could put that behind a die cut of the butterfly and create more dimension for your design. So I want to talk about this. I've got a corner die here. So what I thought I'd do is take a piece of card and actually make a frame. But when you're putting things down on your GoPress upside down, you can't really see where they're going to end up. So I'm going to cut some more foil. Ah, I found the end first time. There we are. So I'm going to, don't need a lot of foil. There we are. Hopefully I've cut that big enough. Yeah, I'm just going to cut a, actually going to put my die on there. You see I've done that with the back of the die because I don't want to scratch my foil. I'm going to mark where I've got that. Okay, and I want to go diagonally across. So I've just got the piece of foil I need. Okay, and then I'm going to also need some tape. So bear with me. I use frog decorator's masking tape for delicate surfaces. I find this doesn't tear my card, doesn't stick to the foil too much. So what I'm going to do is put my die with the cutting edge down so that it doesn't damage my GoPress. I'm going to line it up with the corner of my card, and I'm going to tape it and the foil down. I also find this tape doesn't react too badly with the heat, so it doesn't shrivel up or create a sticky mess. Okay, so I've got that stuck down so it can't easily move. It can't move, but I'm going to be gentle with it. Move those bits of foil out of the way because I want those in a minute. Let's bring my platform in. Okay, so remember, you never put the cutting edge of a die down on the platform. So I'm putting the smooth side of the die down because I'm going to get the outline of this die onto my card. But it's the same stack as I did earlier. I've just taped it all together first and then stuck it down. So that goes on there. That will need a bit longer to warm up because the die is not hot yet. I'm going to put that in there. My red lights come on. So while we're waiting, let me just recap. So I used hot foil stamp for this one. Okay, so metal plate, broad lines, really shows the foil off because there's enough of it there to see really, really well. So that's a hot foil stamp. This is a Couture Creations ones. The Todo ones are also compatible. I know Craft Stash do some of their own make. They work absolutely brilliantly. And if you're in the USA, Scrapbooking Made Simple are making their own hot foil plates as well, available from their website. So that's that. This has gone green, so I'm now going to go and roll it through the die cutting machine. Just to prove I don't edit these. Went to the die cutting machine, started rolling and thought, this feels too easy. I forgot the shims. You still need to put the shims in. So I can just open it up, put the shims in, and then go back to the die cutting machine. Okay, so back from the die cutting machine for the second time. Let's see if I've actually done this right this time. So, take my shims off. It's the same shims I've used earlier. So put those to one side. Pick this up now. Obviously this has come with it because it's still all stuck down. Put the platform back on the base. And that will maintain it at temperature. So, I'm just going to pop this a bit. It cools down a little bit. They do cool down very quickly once they're off the heat. Particularly if it's a small die like this, there's not much metal there to hold the heat. So I'm just putting my tape. I'm starting from on top of the die, and so I'm peeling away from the foil. There we are. Take the die off. And there's my corner. Okay, so now what I want to do is grab another piece of foil and do the next corner. So let's measure again. I should be able to kind of use the other half of the the square that I cut diagonally. Just going to mark that. I find it much easier to cut foils with big scissors than small ones. And these are very sharp big scissors. So, put the foil down. Put my die in place. Now I'm eyeballing this today. I'm doing another series of videos on how to get things lined up exactly. So I will revisit this technique. I just wanted to give you a rough idea of the sorts of things you can do. So do that. Put the tape back on. Now I don't really want to put the tape over my other foiling. That's it, and I don't want that bit sticking out the side, so I'm just going to snip that off so I haven't got tape up hanging my card. So that goes on the GoPress. I'm working in quite a confined space here because I've got my camera where lots of my equipment normally is. So there we are. Normally I leave my GoPress in the other room with the die cutting machine, but it's not so convenient in there for making videos. So you may, if you've watched my other videos, and the shims, don't forget the 4 shims. If you've watched my other videos, you'll have noticed that they're normally in my kitchen, and there are occasional glimpses of things like pots and pans on the cooker when I'm making videos in there, but I thought it'd be better to come and do it in another room. So that's warming up, the red light is flashing. So we looked at that one, and as a reminder, that's the result we got using a cutting die. Okay, and so far everything has just gone straight on to the non-slip grey base on the GoPress. So that's gone green. I'm going to go and put it through the die cutting machine. So I'm back from the die cutting machine. I'm just going to make some space, move some things out of the way here. There we are. Right, so here we are. Take off the shims. There it is. Put that back on the base. Make sure it's slid properly into place and the red flashing light comes on. Okay, so take off the tape. So there's my foil. And there's my second corner. Now, if I turn the card round, I don't know if you can see it, but there's quite a dent in the card. I definitely wouldn't want any more shims than I'm currently using. I think if I did, I'd start cutting into my card with the edge of the die. But considering that was lined up by eye, I'm quite pleased with that. It's not quite exact at the top. So I'd do things like sort out a place to put my ruler so that I knew I was lining both up with the same edge, that kind of thing. I'm not going to do the other 2 corners now, but you get the idea of what you can do just with your cutting dies. So that's the versatility of the machine. So I hope that's cleared up some confusion about foiling with hot foil stamps and dies. So let me just pull the platform out again. So this is actually the GoPress Deluxe that I use. It comes with lines on the lid, but mine have worn away. I've used it a lot. I love using it. Okay, the GoPress Deluxe, or the version 2, comes with this really hefty metal adapter plate. Now that's designed for use with some Couture Creations hot foil hot cut and foil dies, is what they're calling them. I think they're available now in Australia and the USA. They haven't been made available in the UK yet. But that's what that's designed for. That's a really thick metal shim. Okay. Now I've also developed some techniques using a much thinner metal shim. This is one of those. So just to avoid any confusion, nothing I've done today has used either of these. Okay, so pretty much the thick metal one stays in the box. Okay, my thin metal one is a very, very thin metal one. I haven't used that today either, but some of my videos I do. So I just wanted to clear up what the difference is. So there we have it. Hopefully beginners now know where to get started. If you've bought a GoPress machine and you haven't got any hot foil stamps, my advice would be get some. Get at least one, because that really gives you something to test out your foils and your card, using the machine in the way it's designed to be used, so you can get your technique and understand how much pressure is the right pressure using a hot foil stamp. And then when you adapt to using dies and embossing folders and all the other techniques that you'll find around the internet, you'll know whether or not your pressure feels right. Okay, so as I say, hopefully that's helped. Thanks very, very much for watching.